You're getting towards the end here to where you're kind of wrapping up that portion of the preparation for the season. How do you think that's gone?
I think overall it's gone very well. We've defensively we had to get a bunch of young guys ready to go in there and take snaps and build back some of that chemistry. We lost a lot of productive players this past season, and it's been really good to get some of those young guys at linebacker, KD, Tyreek, Kevin Woods looked really good. Some of those guys stepping in there and really adds a different strength to our defense, I think, a little bit more speed at that position. Definitely going to lose some productivity, but those guys have proven that, they're extremely smart, have really good quick twitch, and have made a lot of plays defensively. I think overall defensively have looked good. We lost two really good productive corners this past year, both guys who have made roster or competing to make rosters at the next level. And I feel like Cam's a guy that's really stepped up and done some really good things this fall camp. Nick Harvey, newcomer coming in, he's really picking up the defense quickly. You got I think that secondary group anchored by Kyrie Muhammad, who's probably one of our smartest defensive guys. Him and T-Rob have taken a lot of snaps, and I think overall in the secondary looking good. Ladarius Hamilton's really added some weight, and he's really gotten a lot bigger and stronger. I think he's always had that quick twitch and athleticism to where he can get his first step on people, but now he can really get some of that quick twitch and move it into some power moves and power bull rushes. And he's been extremely difficult to block this fall camp. So overall defensively, I think getting some of those guys some reps. Now it's just about continuing to build continuity and chemistry. Offensively, we didn't lose much off last year. We lost two O-linemen and a productive receiver. I think some guys have really stepped up front. Getting DeAndre Planton back has really helped on the O-line. I think Brian Parrish has had a really good fall camp when DeAndre was out, which is much needed rest for him. He's really come a long way. Jacob Brammer there on the right side has been very productive and played at a high level. Now it's just about replacing that Z position at receiver. I think some guys have stepped up. Jair Shorter's looked really good, has made a lot of big-time plays for us. So we're excited. I think overall, it's been a solid fall camp. It's been pretty much, trying to keep guys healthy, which we've done a pretty good job of that. There's always going to be some nicks and bumps and bruises, but our trainers and their commitment, the players' commitment to making sure they're doing everything right with nutrition and sleep and making sure that the rehabs have been going well. We've stayed pretty healthy, and so that's kind of what you're looking for going into game one. Now we're kind of getting into Abilene Christian this week. Started game plan on Monday. This week's kind of a mock game week. Next week being the first one, we always like to start about 2 weeks out to make sure that they understand kind of how we're going to do a normal game plan week. And then obviously we start school this next Monday, so it's going to come pretty fast, but at least we will have a week of preparation going into that first week.
How much of y'all's too deep is set right now, and how much is still being, in
I think for the most part, we have a good idea. Pretty much most positions on the too deep. There's definitely still competition going on every day. There's going to be competition, hopefully throughout the season. At different positions. Obviously, the one everybody asks about is the backup quarterback. I think, it's come down to Jason Bean and Austin Ani have both had really good camps. They're really growing and picking up the system. They've both been productive when they've had their opportunities. It's just going to be a matter of continuing to get them comfortable within our game plan and finish out this week. And going into the next week, we'll have a better idea kind of where we're sitting.
Seth, he's got unprecedented depth at running back. Can you talk a little bit about how Trey Siggers stepped up during this camp?
Yeah, Trey, from spring until now, this fall camp, he's done a heck of a job of running back. I question whether I ever should have moved him over the defensive side of the ball. Sometimes you overthink things, and I think he did add some depth over there defensively. I think he's one of those tough kids that he's versatile and. I felt like he could maybe bring some depth and do some things defensively for us. But at the same time, I do think running back's his natural position. Now that I've seen both sides of the ball, I think he's he's a load. I mean, he runs extremely physical. He has really good vision. So I think he's added a bunch of depth there at that position as well with DeAndre, and you got Nick Smith, you got Evan Johnson, you got Oscar Attaway, Trey. And so I feel really good about that position. All those guys have been really solid. We haven't had very many down days in that group. Everybody's picking it up pretty well, and that's probably one of our biggest strengths, to be honest with you, offensively. I think the depth there at that position has been really solid.
You mentioned Harvey earlier. How have those two transfer defensive backs fit in with the grad transfers, Dominique?
Yeah, him and Dominique, Nick and Dominique have done a really good job getting in here in the summer, getting in with Coach Womack, understanding, how our program works, what our culture is about, and and those defensive guys have done a great job with them, teaching them the defense with Coach Ref and Clay and getting around those guys. And again, a lot of it's just getting comfortable within the system. Both those guys have the talent. They're extremely athletic, and, they have experience playing at a high level. So I think they've done some really good things. It's just now it's continuing to get comfortable with different calls, different coverages, some different things we may do with some pressure packages. So I'm excited about both those guys. I think they've picked it up pretty well. At the same time, I feel like it's only added competition at that D-back position, which I feel like we need at every single position. So between those guys and, again, Cam, you got Gaddy, who's as a true freshman stepped in there and done some really good things at the corner position. So I think they're competing hard, which is in turns making them all continue to grow, and they're all getting better. And that's, what you want going into the season is feeling good about, especially at that position, having guys that you can rotate in there at times and feel like you're going to continue to be productive.
Can you tell us about the alterations made to the offense with Mason behind the wide receiver?
I'm sorry, I couldn't.
What can you tell us about the alterations made to the offense with Buddy Reeder and Mason?
Yeah, we'll see game week. I don't want to tell it all, right? Haven't even started the season yet. Yeah, I think we've definitely tweaked some things offensively. Bodie Reeder stepped in and has done a heck of a job. I think overall, he's brought some things to the table that I haven't done in the past, which made a lot of sense to me. I think we work, our offensive staff, we all work well together. We have a vision of kind of what we want it to look like. And I think it's been a fairly easy transition. I think, whenever you got guys who think along the same page and, are on the same page, it's obviously going to help. Losing Graham, look, I think Graham Harrell is special. I think he's one of the up-and-coming great coaches in this profession. And so you never obviously you want to keep great coaches, but when guys have great opportunities to move on and move forward, you want to be able to hire great coaches and be able for those guys to step in and not miss a beat. And there's no doubt Bodie has brought a lot to the table. I'm really looking forward to working with him this season, and he's done a tremendous job.
Last season gathered a lot of attention for this program. Did that kind of change how y'all are preparing for this upcoming season?
Well, I think we've always had high standards and high expectations, since day one. You never know how quick it's going to come along, the first couple of years within your culture, kind of with your team, what you have, and to get everybody on the same page, pulling the rope in the same direction is huge. But I think overall we've always had high expectations. We've always felt like we were going to build a program that, was going to go out there and be able to compete for championships on a year-in, year-out basis. And I think just building it the right way, setting the culture the right way has been important. Our players have been great. They've bought in. Now some of the guys that were here, our first year as true freshmen, this is their senior year. A lot of them four-year starters playing a lot as freshmen. So, I think we have a lot of experience, not only on the field, but also just within our team, our culture, what we're about. And so, I think the expectations are going to continue to grow and continue to be high. I promise you this, we're going to put a lot more pressure on ourselves than anybody outside can, because we feel like, we can do special things as long as, we can continue to have great character and prepare the right way. I feel like the sky's the limit with this group.
Where have you seen the most progress in fall camp, and who are some of the players that have jumped out to you over the course?
Well, I think I've been really impressed overall as a team, just getting bigger, stronger, and faster. I think being just the culture. I think that's always trying to make your culture better. The leadership, guys getting more comfortable holding each other accountable. I think that's the hardest thing to do, is hold your peers accountable. It's not always easy, but it's something that you have to do in order to be a successful football team, the way we're talking about being able to compete for championships. And I think they've really grown in that area. And offensively, again, and really offensively and defensively, some things, defensively because of some new faces, there's been some change. And so just trying to fit and tweak different things defensively that may fit our personnel a little bit better. And then offensively, we've tweaked some things as well. So they've had a really good offseason they haven't had a chance to be complacent. They haven't had a chance to get bored because they're continuing to learn new things. And, I think they've handled it very well. I like our group. I like our senior group, our leadership. Again, we just got to continue to make sure that, our character's the right way, we prepare the right way in order to have the results we want.
Have you seen anything from Mason Fine this camp that's new or impressive to you that stands out?
I think he's even stronger. I think his arm strength's even gotten stronger, which is I think he's always had a live arm, but I think he's really worked hard in the offseason of working his footwork is really good. He gets the ball out quick. He has great snap on the ball right now. I think he feels as good as he's felt in a while, health-wise, which helps. And then, again, anytime you're bringing in another quarterback coach / offensive coordinator, you're going to see a little bit different perspective on things. You're going to continue to learn and grow and kind of see it through a different set of lens, which is good because you're just continuing to learn more football, different looks, kind of what defenses are trying to do. That's, the thing he's worked the hardest on is just his pre-snap reads, kind of what guys are giving you, what fronts, protections. Just, I think early on as a quarterback, you're just focused in on doing your job. And then you kind of start getting comfortable and it slows down. Then you start reading coverages. Now you're starting to see fronts. Now you're starting to figure out different pressures. Are we in the right protection? As a quarterback, are you smart enough to understand where the pressure's coming from, where we're one shy and maybe deck the protection the other way? So there's a lot of different things that he's had to work on in the offseason. And saying that the whole time, just making sure that you never want to put too much on those guys. You want to make them, you want to let them go out there and play free and play fast. But he's been around it a long time now. It's year 4, kind of within this system, and I just think he gets more comfortable.